Yeah, this is Phil from Whitechapel, and our new album "Hymns In Dissonance" will be out March 7th. And yeah, excited
Yeah,
about it.
fantastic, bro. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely.
As you say, my friend, Whitechapel released a new album, Hymns in Dissonance, on March the 7th. So, how you feeling about it? I know it's still about a month away, but how you feeling?
Great. I mean, feels like it's been a uh, a long process. It's finally get it out there and have people hear it and see what they think about it. And yeah, it just feels like it's been forever because we've been sitting on the album for quite a while. And just that's how it works nowadays. It's there's a lot of bands out there, and the way streaming works and all that stuff, you kind of just got to get in line for your release.
Yeah. And how do you go sitting on an album like that, mate? Like, you're one of those people that puts it to bed once it's done, or do you sort of keep thinking, like, I could have done this or I could change that, but
No, we're proud of it. We just kind of do our thing, and then just wait till it comes out, and yeah, we don't have any regrets or anything like that.
yeah, man. So, can you tell us a bit more about it musically and what you were going for with it?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely kind of for fans that discovered us within the past couple of years, it'll probably be a little bit of a newer sound for them. But for people that have followed us for longer than that, from the early days, it's going to be kind of like it's going to be a familiar territory for sure.
Yeah. Is that something you sort of sit down in the writing process and discuss that you want to go back to that period and have music that sounds like that, or does it just come naturally out of you?
Yeah, I mean it's being in a band is just kind of like it's very it just things come in waves, like there's we're very inspired by a lot of different types of music, a lot of it mainly being hard, death metal and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that we were all just kind of having that itch to write something really heavy and extreme again. And this is the 40-year-old version of us coming up with that, instead of the the young kid version, the 21-year-old version of it.
So along those lines, like Alex has been quoted as saying that we attempted to write our heaviest album to date. So to define heaviness in your terms, like these days, heaviness means a hell of a lot of things. So when you say the heaviest to date, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of it has to do with musically, just sonically how it sounds. And yeah, I mean that, and the overall mood, the just kind of like the tone that we're trying to set with it. Um and yeah, I mean just there's a lot of things other than just the music. Just the theme, the overall tone of the album, the way the album sounds sonically, and just the writing style.
To date, you've released the singles of Visceral, Wield, and Hymns in Dissonance, mate. So are they a good sonic representation of what to expect, or are they just painting a small picture?
I mean, I would say it's going to be what to expect, but also it does paint a small picture, because I feel like every song on the album has its own kind of feeling towards it. It None of them are just the same. They don't really sound exactly the same. With heavy metal and extreme music in general, it is kind of hard to separate them from the others. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just very. I feel like the flow of the album is very. Yeah, I love the flow of the album, and just the transition from song to song. I think it's a good representation.
Yeah, on that subject, man, like you mentioned the transition from song to song. Like, I know back in our day, you used to have to think about that when putting an album together, like how the songs would sort of flow into each other. But these days with social media and people just taking shit randomly, like, does that still come into thinking when you put an album together, the actual track listing?
Yeah, I guess it's just because that's kind of the era that we come from. Nowadays, yeah, it is a lot different. The the flow of the album, because everything's digital now. It's a lot of singles, and putting out an album isn't necessarily the norm. I guess you could. It's starting to become less of the norm. Um, People are just making single tracks and songs here and there, and but I still think albums for sure. That's just the era that we come from, and that's just kind of how we are. Yeah, just kind of how we're wired, and we just really like to put together a whole. It's kind of like a book. You can't just release pages. Every now and then. That's how we feel with music. You just got to release the whole thing as a cohesive unit.
I think that's actually probably one of the best things about vinyl making a comeback, other than the fact that vinyl's gold. But when someone picks up vinyl, listens to it, they have to listen to the whole thing pretty much start to finish. So you do get that full immersive experience like you used to.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, vinyl. It's so funny. I just think everything comes full circle. A lot of the old school stuff is, that's just how stuff is timeless. Because vinyl has been around for forever. And well, long before the younger generation has been around. So I mean, it's an ancient piece of music, but it's making a comeback, and it's just the classic. That's what music was before CDs and cassette tapes and stuff was the vinyl.
Doesn't it suck that we can remember that like it's the norm?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So hymns in dissonance, like as a whole, it sort of follows a cult leader trying to gather worthy people into his sect, I guess. But can you break it down a little bit for us? What it's about?
Yeah. So this, as far as lyrically and everything goes, this record is story wise is a direct sequel to This Is Exile, and it's following the basically what it is this guy thinks that he is the chosen son of the devil himself, and that he's yeah, he's gathering this cult to resurrect his the Lord of Evil, and to just take over everything, and be the successor of where his brother had failed. And yeah, and it's the way he's doing it is committing the seven cardinal sins to in to enact these seven cardinal sins, to as like kind of like a ritual to resurrect him.
That's a pretty heavy subject matter, mate. It must have been pretty immersive to write that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, I mean, whenever I get to writing and stuff, I kind of think about some pretty weird stuff for sure.
And you actually started writing the album in June 2023 with a strictly weekday writing schedule, which is very strange for a band, mate. Like, run us through how that came about and how it actually helped in the end.
Yeah, I mean, as far as that whole schedule goes, it's mainly just a lot of it is because of um, we're all older now, and we all have our own personal lives, and things going on in our lives. So we figured coming up with that schedule uh, is going to be more beneficial to us. There's guys in the band that have they have a kid, or um, just again just stuff going on in their life, and to have that schedule is was very beneficial towards us, because it's kind of like, this is our job. So to have that structure like a job will just be more efficient.
So how strict was that? Like, just say you at 7 p.m. at night, you're sitting there and this great idea comes to you, you pick up the phone, ring Alex, and go, "Man, I got this great idea." Like, you see, fuck off. It's past 6 o'clock. We're not doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you guys also self-produce the album too. Like, well, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of keeping that in-house?
Yeah, I mean, just being able to do it from pretty much the comfort of our own home is yeah, I mean, I mean, you can't really get any better than that. You know, you don't have to travel and go sleep in a hotel that you're not familiar with, or be in an area that you're not familiar with, and yeah, just kind of having our own, uh, just being in the comfort of our own homes, and just local, and yeah, I mean, it was just it's really hard to beat that.
Yeah, for sure. And have you had a chance to road test any of the songs live yet?
Yeah, we played Visceral and Hymns, the song we just released, Hymns in Dissonance. We've played those two live, but none of the other ones we haven't played live yet.
No. How'd they go down? Like, because you said before, it's sort of a step back to the older music, and the newer fans might not appreciate it as much to start off with. Like, how'd it go live? Could you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the newer fans, they do like the heavier stuff because we still stayed heavy, but we just had different elements and different kind of a more nuanced sound compared to like our older stuff. So I think it's going to be appreciated, and I think that they're going to like it, and time will tell. But I'm very confident about it.